in New Zealand, I've got to be honest with you. It's Friday, coming into a brand spanking new weekend, 17th of January, almost through the very first month of 25. That was quick, I've got to be honest. And today we have a very, very special guest. Yes, we're joined by Michael F. Rose from the band, of course, legendary band of that Bad Horse. You're going to love it. But in the meantime, let me do this. That's right, you're right here at Galaxy107 FM. Very, very happy to have you on board. If you haven't seen the show or been a part of it and this is your first time, special welcome to you, and why not become part of the family? We call it the noise here at Galaxy simply because you do have a voice and we do listen, we really do. If you don't know how to do that, get hold of Barbara, but why not sub, thumb, bell? Bingo, there you go. Quick way of doing it. Bell notifications when we have important people, much like Michael F. Rose today. Subscribe. Become part of that family. We'd love to have you. We really would. And thummy, you know what to do with the thummy thing, don't you? Like us, get epileptic. Like us. Triple dare you on that one. In the meantime, let's kick it off with legendary band Bad Horse. Heaven, help me, here at Galaxy.
Hi, baby. We just started.
Hi, baby.
Oh. Baby's here.
Baby's here.
Miss you. Baby's here.
Hello. Hello. I saw the lips.
I was trying to get her on because she's so pretty, but she won't come on.
Ah, dear, oh dear. I love your choice of hats.
Thank you. Yeah, I've recently started wearing this. I often wear.
Yeah, well, that's the other one I like.
Sometimes I wear a head. I don't know, man. I don't have like a thing I do. You know what I mean? It's just whatever.
Oh dear. If I'm not wearing this, I'm wearing a do-rag. I've got to be honest.
Right?
Yeah. Honestly, I do a lot of work between the office and going into production, and then doing a lot of work in the studio, if you know what I mean.
Tell him I've sent the link
Yeah.
to his
Is there
Facebook
do we have a
page.
live link yet?
Yes,
So I can
Barbara
check
was
real
just saying that she's just sent the link to you now.
Oh, right on.
Does he want it in Messenger?
Do you want it in Messenger?
Messenger's fine, yeah.
Yep. There we go. Oh, look at that. Didn't do anything. Let's try that again. Hello? No, it's freezing up. Why is that doing that? Let's get back here. Try that. There we go. How's that?
Hi, Norman.
Ah, Norman, nice to meet you, sir, and looking forward to meeting up with you in the near future as well. Loving your work. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. But I'm sure he's got new work coming out very, very shortly. So I'm always looking forward to meeting up with new work. I really am. We've got about 56 seconds to go. Can I get this one up a little bit, please? Yeah, this side. Thank you. Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
It's Galaxy 107 or 103?
107.
That's it. I just want to make sure I didn't say the wrong thing.
That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM, and today, believe me, absolutely elated. We're talking to Michael F. Rose from the band Bad Horse. Welcome to Galaxy, Michael.
How are you?
Absolutely, box of fluffies, I've got to be honest with you. I'm elated to meet you, sir. I really, really am. And I've got to be honest, since we've been playing your music, I'm a big fan.
Thank you, Grant. Yeah, I really appreciate being on. You guys, we've been, I kind of feel like I know you already, especially Barbara. We just met today, but Barbara and I have been talking about doing this for a while.
Yeah.
I'm happy that we finally got to it.
Believe me, Barbara's been talking to me immensely about all of your work. She really, really has. As I was saying earlier on, she gets about 200 submissions a day, which is phenomenal from artists and bands from around the world. So we only play the best of the best. And I've got to be honest with you, Michael, we absolutely love your work. We really, really do. So having said that, the noise, of course, our fan base from around the world, and we're in every English-speaking country in the world, and some that aren't, but I don't know how that works, but I'll take it anyway. Believe me, they are always, always, always asking for Michael F. Rose music. That's why we see your name so many times in the breakfast show every morning.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And Barbara's always pinging me, telling me, and sending me pictures of the playlist and what you guys are playing in the morning. I'm so grateful, and I know I speak for the rest of the band when I say we're really grateful that we have you guys. It's a wonderful thing to. It's such an all-important team. It's like we need each other. Yeah, and I've said this for years now since I, woke up. We're all better together. This business that we're in, it's when you focus on other people's hopes, goals, and dreams, and you don't stare at your own, yours will happen. You just can't. My intention when I started this was, people ask about, fame and all this other stuff. I just wanted to make art. I wanted to be faithful to the art. I wanted to make music. I can't help it. It's playing in my head all the time, and it doesn't turn off until I write it. And then I met, gradually accumulated this wonderful group of musical monsters, and here we are.
Well, I've got to be honest with you. I've been an engineer, not only a DJ, but an engineer, and I'm talking not only front of house, but studio as well. I've worked with some of the biggest and best bands in the world, in some of the biggest and best studios in the world as well. So, I've done my road time, if you know what I mean. And as I say to you, I listen to bands and I talk to bands and artists every day. There's something about your work that's just stood out that literally, and I'm going to be honest with you, I've added your work to my playlist in my car when I go home at night, and when I come to work in the morning, I'm listening to Michael F. Rose and Bad Horse. I really, really am. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Now, Michael, we opened up the show with Heaven Help Me. Tell me a little something about this track.
Heaven Help Me was a song that I actually wrote it about my eldest son, Michael Jr. And he lived in Idaho pretty close to me, and I was busy all day and he was working all day, and then he'd call me and he'd go, "Hey Pop, you want to go fishing?" Because he's 32. He could work all day, go fishing, and then go out, and and so by the time I was done working, I was like, "Man, can we do it on Saturday? Let's do Saturday." And I raised this guy. We're best friends too. I'm best friends with all my kids. They're, when I was a kid, I didn't have any friends, so I made my own. But I was always dad first and then friends. So if they were cool with the dad part, then we could be friends. But Junior, I don't know. One day he called me and he took a job where he couldn't refuse it, and he told me they were moving out of state. And I was sitting there and I felt so bad, and I was thinking about all those times that I didn't go fishing. And I wrote, "Heaven help me, I'm being haunted by the things I didn't do." And then I started, kind of gleaning, other relationship things, and it, just kind of, it all came together. And Heaven Help Me is one of those cool songs that I wrote in like 5 minutes. It wasn't, or maybe 10. Let's be real here. Maybe 10 minutes, but lyrically, you know, and then I beat through it, and I might have done something else with it, you know, as far as musically goes. But it just wrote itself because it was real, you know, and that's what I love about art, and I love, and I really appreciate it. I'm so grateful, and thank you for the compliments. They're really wonderful. It's I get to be an artist, man. You know what I mean? I get to do this, and I'm always humbled by it, grateful for it, and just it's so I embrace it. You know, at first you're kind of blown away, like what happened, but that only lasted for a minute because once I started reaching any level of whatever you call success, right? We were talking earlier about music being medicine. And I appreciate everybody's music. Not everybody's music might be radio friendly, but it's not any less important. Because if that person, it's medicine to them, and maybe their song, one person hears their song and it changes their life. It keeps them from jumping off a bridge, or it helps them through a breakup, or it motivates them to do something great, you know. And and that's what Heaven Help Me was, just one of those, you know, quick rides.
Yeah, you know, Michael, I speak to artists and bands every day. And I've noticed one thing over the many, many years that I've been doing this is that the 5-minute songs or the 10-minute songs, the ones that, and believe me, I've had people say to me, Grant, I wrote this on a McDonald's napkin while I was watching the kids playing in the car park, you know, playing in the park, all that sort of stuff. They are the ones that have the longevity. They last forever. I mean, honestly, I've had bands and people say to me, it took me years to complete this track, lasted 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's the
right.
5 minute. I don't know what it is. These very, very quick, write down lyrics, get it into the to the band, get it into the studio, let's pump it out. What do you know? It's still playing in 10 years' time.
I agree. You know, music comes from somewhere else. I think music comes from. I believe that we're in a three-dimensional world, right? And the fourth dimension, that next dimension we're gonna all go to one day, that dimension is love. And I've dreamed quite a few of my songs. I never dreamed the whole song, but I'll dream the melody and I'll hear me singing like a piece of it, and I'll wake up and go. And I don't do it anymore, but I used to go, is that mine, or am I just, did I get somebody else's song? Is that Phil Collins that I heard in the grocery store? Or, you know, I didn't know what it was. And so clearly, if I'm receiving and writing songs when I'm unconscious, this music isn't for me, it's through me, and I'm not doing it. I'm just being faithful enough to get it from that dimension to this one, because we need it, and we'll get to real love later, but that's what real love's about. And if you hear throughout all my music, there's this, you know, whether it's a heartbreak song or whatever it is, I'm a cup is half full kind of guy, Grant. So I always see where, you know, how does this song, I don't want it to be too melancholy. You know, I grew up listening to all kinds of wonderful artists, and we spoke on to that a little bit earlier. It was, you know, a cross between Hank Williams and the Bee Gees, depending on what family member's house I was living at the time, because I was a bit of a rebellious youth. I wasn't a bad kid, but I just, you know, I couldn't sit still. And that created my writing style, I think, because it was just such a strange dichotomy of different types of music. And then, as I told you earlier, that a friend came and said, and he loaned me Neil Young and Crazy Horse, Rest Never Sleeps, and I put it on, and I heard boom, ba da da dum, ba da da dum, that horrible note, which is beautiful, and his guitar's a little out of tune. You know, it was just so, it was wonderful. And then Dan Fogelberg came, and then all these other people started showing up, and I didn't realize it then, but I was emulating the masters.
Yep, well...
And then, you know, I hit... Okay, go ahead.
So, sorry about that, but yeah, I've got to actually move on. I'm being told by my producers that we're running out of time. So we've got to And I really, really want to ask you this because Robin, coming out of Alberta, Canada, is asking, Michael, as a fan, how do we get hold of you? Are you on Facebook? Are you on X? Are you a talker? But more importantly, do you respond?
Absolutely. I do. And I do it as often as I possibly can. And I'm in the office frequently, or office/pre-production studio. And so, yeah, PM, you can find us on Facebook, Michael F. Rose, Bad Horse. And I'll put the links in the chat if anyone who's on the air wants to get on the chat. Does everyone have access to this Skype chat, or is this just us?
At the moment, it's just us, but it will be.
Okay.
It is going out around the world at the same time for people that are linked into this.
Facebook Live.
It is live, yeah.
On
Facebook
Facebook.
Live as well.
And tell her name is Robin.
Her name is this is your good wife.
Who's Robin? Was that who was asking the question?
Robin.
Robin?
Yeah, no, but I get it. Yeah, no. Now, what was her name? Sorry, forgot. Yeah, never mind. Moving on.
Well, whoever asked the question, thank you. And yeah, on Facebook, Michael F. as in Frederick Rose, or you can search Bad Horse. Start there, and then you can find all our other links. Our YouTube, which is, I don't want to go through the whole repertoire of those, but it's MFR Bad Horse, or at MFR Bad Horse. And yeah, find us on Facebook if you have it, and we'll take it from there. I mean, we've had a website in the works for a while, but I don't have time to, I never got to it. I'm not the greatest at being up to date on social media. I've been working on it, but we definitely will get back to you. That's the short answer.
Nice. Now, Mary, coming out of North Carolina, remember the name Mary, coming out of North Carolina, is asking, Michael, and do you have any merch? Do you have a merch store? How do I buy caps, koozies, t-shirts, stuff like that?
We do. We have our Etsy store. We have merchandise. I'll put, well, the link is all over our social media, and it'll be up tomorrow. We took it down to revamp it because we had some old merchandise on there we weren't really happy with, and then we came out with a whole new line of Michael F. Rose and Bad Horse merch. So, yeah, t-shirts, sweaters, women's apparel. We've got all kinds of really neat stuff on there. But, yeah, I'll have the Etsy link up. I'd say no later than, well, you guys are Friday. She's in North Carolina, so she's 2 hours ahead of me. So tomorrow by 2 o'clock your time, I'll have that Etsy store up and running for you.
Absolutely. Well, having said that, now that I know that you do have some merch, can I hit you up? How would you like to send me a t-shirt? I'd be very honoured to wear your brand while I'm doing these interviews. It does work too, by the way. It really does. I've had people say to me, Grant, while I'm watching the interview, I'm on the interwebby thing, buying caps, koozies, guitar picks and all sorts of stuff as well. Of course, earlier on this morning, we did this mad band. Yeah, we did. So if you find the time, go and check them out. Believe me, you can't go wrong there. Would love that. To be able
and thank you for that, too, because you remember, as an independent artist, we're funding everything ourselves.
Exactly.
And our fans are our friends, and they're part of our musical family, our music family. And when you guys buy a sweatshirt or a t-shirt or whatever it is, that money is going for studio work. It's going toward, a pre-production work. It's really not just, you're not just buying a shirt. You're actually, you're helping fund what we're trying to accomplish so we can bring more music to you. So thank you for that. And you have my word on that. I'll have that Etsy shop up for you tomorrow by 2 o'clock, East Coast time.
Absolutely brilliant. At the same time, a little later on, I'm going to ask you if you do me a couple of voice drops so I can get your voice on the radio here more often, because the more times people hear who you are, the more times they go and find out all that sort of stuff. So we'll chat about that very shortly. But being a conduit of music, that's the way I took it earlier on, that it comes through you. How did 57 Chevy come into the picture?
'57 Chevy, it's a funny story. Mark Hume, lead guitarist, Mark had a tendency to send me songs at, midnight, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. So he would he sent me the lick for '57 Chevy, and I was actually laying in bed. It was around 1 o'clock in the morning, and I heard my phone ping, and I looked, and it was Mark, so I hit play, and I heard, and I'm like, oh, man. So I tried to go to sleep, and it just started playing. And I know when I hear a melody that I'm going to write to, something we're going to keep, it won't turn off. Sometimes I'll come up with something that I think is really cool, and in a half an hour, I can't remember it. But the songs that get written are the songs that won't turn off in my head. And Mark has a wonderful, great melodic, great guitar player. Just really one of the best I've ever worked with. Probably, the best for this project I've ever worked with for sure. Because he's part, this, we come together and build these things, all of us, it was 4 of us for a while, but now we've added the amazing Russ Pfeiffer, who's a keyboard, well, his friend first, but he's a keyboard player, vocalist, great songwriter. So we're stacked, and it's a lot of fun to be on that team where, I'm not scoring all the points. I can pass to any one of these guys and they can score.
I got to be honest with you, Michael. 1,469 requests since we've been playing it. It's getting traction here at Galaxy. It really is. Absolutely love it. And yes, I do play it in my car. Here's '57 Chevy, Michael Lefrays, and Bad Horse. Ooh, it's hot in here. It really is.
Right on. Well, this is fun, man. I'm glad we finally got to do this.
Nice. Should we talk about the magazine?
He's already been in it.
Oh, of course. You've been in Lazy Indie magazine, haven't you?
Yeah, we were in it March 24.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was a wonderful experience, and the story was well written. I filled out a lot of the stuff, but what they elaborated and the way they pieced it together, it's just such a classy piece. You know what I mean? It's so clean. The website's clean. The magazine looks great, whether online or in your hand. It's one of those, like you said, you only play the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
I try to only work with the best of the best, but not in a pretentious way. But there's certain levels to this staircase, and we're all on that same wavelength, and we've worked hard to get there. So that's what we're focused on. Is like I said earlier, we're all better together.
Let me tell you, Michael. As of this month, we're formally partners with Lazy Indie magazine. Jay is now partners up with us about a project that we've got coming in. Believe me, it's starting in a couple of months, to be very honest with you. I'll let you know more about that after we do the interview, because we would love to be able to include you in on this as well, if you know what I mean. So.
I'd love to. But it was a good word for me. What had happened was when it was my understanding we were going to be the cover story in March, and when they told me that I wasn't, I said, that's fine, as long as we're in it. I'm cool with that. And then they said, well, call us, after the first of the year, and then we'll talk about getting a cover for you. So I just pinged them the other day, so that's starting up again. So if you're working with them and you put in a good word, that'd probably help my odds, don't you think?
Absolutely. So coming up next is Real Love, my friend. So, and thank you guys for joining us today. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on board. It really, really is. And no matter where you are in the world, so very, very happy that you've survived the festive season. And now let's get down to work. It's 25. The first 25 years of the 2000s, the 2Ks, gone quickly. It really has. Oh, gosh, guys, a little loud. Never mind, we get there. Of course, today we're joined by Michael F. Rose from the band and legendary band of that, Bad Horse. Got to say hi to Ray Richardson, who's joining us right now. Nice to have you on board as well. Thank you for joining us. And, absolutely love Ray, sorry, I've got somebody talking to me at the same time, Michael F. Rose. Now, Michael, Bad Horse, where did the name come from?
We had concluded that, well, first it was M Rose, M as in Michael, M Rose and the Weary, when we first started out together. And we were a three-piece. And we had a different drummer, Greg Kirkus, and he was a great drummer and did a lot of good work for us. And I needed a name, because they're telling me, oh, just call it Michael F. Rose Band. Just call it Michael F. Rose Band. And I didn't want to. I wanted them to have ownership, because it's not Michael F. Rose Band. I do my own music. I have my own solo stuff that doesn't quite fit what Bad Horse does, or used to. It seems to just be meshing into everything is Bad Horse now. And the only reason I kept the Michael F. Rose and not just Bad Horse is because I had been, I had my career going for a couple of years, well, maybe longer than that, but in a professional way for a couple of years before Bad Horse came. So I didn't want to just disappear into Bad Horse. So we had to keep the two entities going together, and now we're getting close to where we can merge them. But Bad Horse, I went online one night, and I was looking for a band name. And I was thinking of all kinds of wild things. I don't know. Anyway, so I saw this video of this woman. She was on a horse, and she's pulling back on both reins. She's trying to turn it away from the post, right? But she doesn't know, one at a time. So she's pulling back, and she must have been doing this all day, because this horse jumped straight back in the air and landed on her leg. I guess she was okay. I don't know. It didn't kill her, thank God. But right below that picture, it said Bad Horse. And I went, oh, I think I just found it. So we used that backward flipping horse in some of the logo work, in some of the older logo work, and which it'll always be there. And we actually had a peach behind it, which was kind of my little subliminal tribute to the Allman Brothers, with the horse flipping, in front of the peach. And it worked. And Flip Perkins, our amazing savant drummer, he loved it, and he's the one that said, you need to make it bigger. Because I had this little logo, and he's like, you got to make it bigger. So it's such a wonderful project because everybody is equally as important, and it's an amazing team. So that's where Bad Horse came from.
Now, I've really got to ask you this, seeing you mention it, savant. Is he really a savant?
I think he did. Well, he's functional in a way communicatively, but he doesn't say much. And usually, we did an internet concert, and I'm like introducing it, like Mark Hume on guitar, and here's Bob Umphris, our bassist, and we had a different keyboard player then, and I go, and Flip's walking on stage, and I go, here's Flip Perkins, and he goes, shut up. And I'm just like, right on, man. You gotta have that, You get to be yourself around here.
Absolutely. Now tell me, and I'm absolutely loving this track. I really, really am. You're up around 1600. In fact, the high 1687. Real Love. Tell me all about this track. Why is it so popular? Why do people love this so much?
I think this song, for me, I'm not a religious guy, but I love God. And 1 John 4:8 says, for he who does not love does not know God, for God is love, period. And I went through something a couple years ago where I thought it was love. I was told it was love, but it didn't behave like love. And I was reading 1 Corinthians chapter 13, where it says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it keeps no records of wrongs. And that was the one that really stood out, because the situation I was in before, it was like, you remember 20 years ago? And I'm like, whoa, hold on. I'm not, that guy's gone.
Yeah.
I'm me now. I wanted that 1 Corinthians 13. I wanted that love. To me, that was real love. And at the end of that verse, it's of faith. These three remain: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love, because God is love. And like Christ said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And that's another thing too. You got to get to know who you really are before you can get. And like I said, I'm quoting scripture, and I believe Yeshua is the Messiah. I'm not a Christian. I'm technically a Messianic Jew, but I'm not a religious guy. Religion is bondage. Religion is, by definition, the act of doing something repeatedly. And what if what you're doing repeatedly is wrong? So I walked away from that a long time ago, and just wanted to be the evidence of that love and kind of develop who I am into it. And I'll tell you, everybody listening, that love, that unconditional love with healthy boundaries, because there are people out there, if you love like that, they will eat you alive. So you got to pick your spots when you're doing that, okay? I'm not telling you, everybody go love everybody, and you're going to call me in a year because you married a narcissist and it was a nightmare. So, so real love is just that. It's real love. It's God's unconditional love. It's our Creator. If you don't like the G word, we can throw that out. That's not His name. Our Creator's love, and we have that in us, and it's all the crap of the world and the news and all the division and all the baloney they're always trying to throw at us to keep us angry at each other. But, if we just stop for a minute in a moment of pause, and when we're faced with somebody, whether it's somebody who isn't healthy and we don't want them in our life, or it's somebody you can let in, it's that this isn't easy being in these earth suits, right? We're all souls that live in these earth suits, and it's hard. But if everybody loves each other, and I mean, like I said, in a healthy way, it's just a better place. It's a better life. We have the ability to care about other people, like we talked about. You want to be successful? Here's the greatest advice I could ever give you. I've given it to my kids and everybody else. You want to be successful? Find somebody that's trying really, really hard, that's working. Not somebody sitting around waiting for free stuff. But support their hopes, goals, and dreams. Help other people achieve what they're trying to do. And I guarantee you will get in the current of that, and you won't have to sit and think about what you want and what you need and I want to be famous and all this baloney. That's nonsense. Fame and all that crap, that's a byproduct of faithfulness to the art. So find yourself, find your art, and your art should be love, and love other people who are trying, and watch. I guarantee you, it'll change your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, here's something that maybe you're a little interested in. When I was younger, I said to my dad, what is this love thing about, right? And he said, quite simply, son, I've been with your mother for almost 50 years, and I'm still learning what love's about every day. He says, when you find out, let me know.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
We're trying to be the best version of ourselves, and we keep growing.
Exactly.
And the older we get, the more we appreciate. That's the coolest part. And then love grows. But when you have all that behind you, it's very cool. And congratulations to your parents for being together that long.
Oh, believe me, they were. They're past now, unfortunately, many, many years ago. But
that's still amazing. My grandparents were 50. I think they were 53 years, 54. I mean,
that's a good innings.
Kudos to anybody who can stay together that long. Like now, it's just kind of like, I don't like your hair today. Let's go to the courthouse. Boom, we're out of here. I'm over it.
Here's something you may be interested in. I'm going to let it out of the bag. I really am. I've got a wickedly bad memory for important dates. Okay, so when my wife accepted my proposal, I said to her, "Let's say we get married on your birthday." Right?
You're a smart man.
Very, very smart, because now I've got an anniversary and a birthday on the same day, right?
And you were also the greatest gift she ever received on her birthday, so pretty good.
Well, I was something that she could throw a good frying pan at the end of the day.
That's a pretty smooth move right there, man. That's a little presumptuous. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to give me to you for your birthday.
There you go, absolutely. Of course, I'm a cheap model. But having said that, my wife's bridesmaid, would you believe, has a birthday on the exact same day. Mm-hmm. Really does. So I can't forget that one, who happens just to be my co-host over here, Barbara. Literally. So when it comes around to a certain date of the year, believe me, it's all intertwined altogether. I can't forget any of those. I really can't.
See, I would be in trouble with a bunch of people if I didn't have Google Calendar. You guys included.
There you go. There you go. Vanessa McLean is joining us. It's nice to have you on board, Vanessa. It really, really is. And here we are at Galaxy, joining Michael F. Rose and Bad Horse with Real Love. Gosh, it's hot. 72 degrees F.
It's outside.
Is that what it is right now?
That's outside. Outside.
And what time is it there? 8 or 9 in the morning?
It is 9 minutes after 12 noon.
Friday.
Oh, okay.
Friday. We're ahead of you.
Even that? Right. And it's only 72?
Yeah. Outside. Add another 20 degrees for in here with all the computers and
Oh,
monitors.
yeah, of course.
Oof, she's warm.
Because it's 38 here.
Okay.
The sun is shining, which is odd for this time of year. We've had so many beautiful blue sky days. It's a curious thing, especially up north, because we're about 15 minutes north of Boise.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Idaho.
it's been beautiful, chilly but beautiful.
Okay, I know where Boise is. It's in Idaho. But at the same time, everything's getting a little weird right now. All the planets have come in line.
There's a lot of weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the UAPs and the UFOs? I don't think the ladies are going to let us go down that rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah, they would actually. They really would. But more importantly, my wife's agreeable. Yeah. Now that all the planets are coming in line, my wife started to agree with me. I'm hoping this stays for a while.
Maybe we can find a way to lock that down without destroying the multiverse.
Yeah, well, exactly, true. Yeah. By the way, Michael, by any chance are you a vegan?
No, but I've been eating really healthy the last couple of years. I've had a couple spasms where I went outside the box, but okay. I'm actually quite the opposite. I last year in February I started the carnivore diet and I lost 40 pounds in 80 days.
Wow.
Yeah, so you're a meteorologist like that. Look, the reason why I asked that, Michael, is, and believe me, I ask everybody this, literally everybody, because I'm trying to get to the bottom of the myth. Have you ever tried a vegan sausage?
I've had some vegan hamburgers or patties. They weren't bad, but there's nothing like a ribeye steak, man.
Well,
you gotta.
I fully agree with you 100%.
I'm a big guy. I'm 6'5", 230 pounds, so it's hard for me to do the hunter-gatherer, eating berries thing, man. I gotta feed this carcass.
Yeah, believe me, I'm 6'2", and know what you're saying. But the reason why I ask that is, a vegan sausage is really made of real vegans.
Oh yeah, is that what they do?
I don't know. Other than that, the only time.
A vegan sausage.
Is it a real vegan sausage? Is it made of real vegans? Well, I was upset because I found out that Girl Guide biscuits weren't made of real Girl Guides. You can thank Beetlejuice for that.
Yeah, right. Beetlejuice.
That's right. You're right here at Galaxy 107 FM, and today we're talking to Michael Rose from the band Bad Horse, and absolutely loving this. Philly D is watching. Nice to have you on board, Philly. I think it's the first time we've met, so welcome to the show, and really appreciate you joining in on board. What are you shaking your head for, Barbara? You're waving away, right? Do you remember Star Wars by any chance, Michael?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's the only one I watched.
Okay, you remember the bad guy there. Of course, we're talking about, the guy that has the...
Darth Vader?
Yeah, Darth Vader with the lightsaber kind of swordy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like Barbara in this thing here. You've got to move out of the way really quickly or you could lose an appendage. She's very quick with it.
I've seen it coming in there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, believe me, it's a hard hat area sometimes when Barbara's around with her wandy thing. It really is.
Well, you better not get out of line or, that thing could come.
I will pay dearly later.
In.
Believe me, it's Friday. I will pay dearly later. I'm probably going to end up paying for the ice cream later. We do things like that, believe me, we do shout each other ice cream. By the way, I'm kind of partial to a bit of pistachio ice cream when I'm in America. Do you have a flavour or a favourite kind of ice cream over there that you like to eat?
Well, yeah, I haven't eaten ice cream in forever. Like Rocky Road probably would be my jam.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I get that. I do.
Anything chocolate. I used to be all about the chocolate, but I had to cut that out because you got to stay in shape for this business if you want to do it well. And I noticed that a few months back when I got out of shape and I was singing, and I'm like, I'm taking extra breaths right now. I'm going to have to straighten up. And when we talked about being faithful to the art, I mean, even down to that, it's like every action causes an equal and opposite reaction, right? So when you really dedicate to something, there's a quote, I don't think it was Nietzsche, I don't know who wrote it. It was something about if you want to succeed and do something, you can't just light a match, but you have to light yourself on fire. You can't do it a little.
No.
If it's a hobby and cool, or if it's your occasional medicine, right on. But there's nothing greater than immersing yourself in it. It's really hard at first because number one, everybody's going to think you're nuts right off the bat. You're doing what now? So that's okay, The naysayers either disappear or they come around. And if they really love you, they'll come around.
Absolutely.
But yeah, be faithful to your art. And all the musicians, the fans, friends, followers, musicians out there, not just everybody love everybody with healthy boundaries, but find that thing that you do, that thing you're the best at. And even if you only have a little bit of time to do it because it's medicine.
Strangely enough, I had a young lady ask me not so long ago, did you always want to be a DJ? And I went, hell no. I didn't actually. It was born in me. At the age of 5, I'm putting 2 stereos together, literally at 5 years of age, playing records back in those days. That's pre-MP3 too, by the way, if you don't know what it is. Literally. But I'm not kidding. From, a very young age, I knew within my own self what I wanted to be. Now, my father was crazy. He used to blow stuff up for a living. He was a shop firer for coal mines, right? And expected me to take on the family bizzo there. Not a chance, if you know what I mean. My cousin, who ended up running the local railways around New Zealand, expected that I was going to, be a train driver or something like that. No, my mother said to me, how would you like to come and see a concert? She won some tickets at a radio station. I went to see for the very first time a guy called Gary Glitter on stage. Right?
Oh, man. Yeah, I remember Gary Glitter.
Way back in the day. And on the plane home, she goes, what do you think? And I said to her, I'll never be a singer, Mum. And she says, well, you don't have to be a singer if you want to be in the music industry. There's always something there that you can find.
That's right.
Almost 50 years later, I've been in the radio industry for years and years and years. 47 years as an engineer, and I've worked with some of the biggest and best bands in the world. I've been very lucky in my career, but I've never been a singer. So that's what I absolutely love about it. People who can sing, you know, I wish I could do it, and that's what I love the most about performers and performing, is watching these people who can do it get on stage and just be themselves. This is what I hear within your music.
Yeah, it's the presentation, it's the delivery. Like when I go to do a show, I'm thinking about the music, and I'm thinking about engaging the people that are coming and making sure that I serve them. Because, you know, people buy tickets, people travel, people come to see you play, and you got to honor that. You know, you can't just get up there and go through the motions, man. I want every time, and especially now with you know, internet and social media blowing up everywhere, you really have to get yourself squared away enough to be on stage, because one bad moment's the end of your career, man. You have to prepare for it now like never before, because you know, you crack a note, man, you go viral.
Believe me, I understand it. You know something, you're only as good as your last performance. Remember that statement? Believe me, very applicable here. It really is. Tell me about Still America.
Still America is a song that I wrote and originally released in 2019 before everything went absolutely bananas. And the word America had this, well, I don't want to go into politics, but the word America in America almost became a dirty word. And I was raised by my grandfather. My dad was in Vietnam. Both of my grandfathers fought in World War II in Korea. And I was raised very patriotically. But I was also, I had a hippie mom, you know, so there again, I had that balance, you know. And I released Still America, and it just sat there. And I knew exactly why. So I gave it a little while, and then I pulled it down. And then I re-released it through a record label that I had to leave. Anyway, I won't even go down that rabbit hole. And then so I released it twice, pulled it down, waited, and then when I saw the United States, when I saw America starting to wake up, starting to turn, regardless of if you were, you know, blue or red, Democrat, Republican. You know, you got your far left crazies and you have your far right crazies, and they're the tips of the wings of the same bird, you know. But the majority of Americans are in this reasonable middle, and I was so happy in the last election that I saw that reasonability come back. I saw people waking up, and people starting to appreciate where we live and being grateful to God, and treating each other a little bit better. We still have 2025 is going to be a tough year, because that bone was set wrong for 4 years, and now we have to break it, and we got to get it back where it belongs. And so 2025 will be tough, but that's a perfect opportunity for us to love each other through it.
You know, I fully...
And that's what Still America is about. Still America is about a little town that I moved into called Kuna, Idaho. And it was about Horseshoe Bend, the place I grew up with some friends up there, and I just fell in love with this place. That's how I ended up living here. And when I wrote, "There's only 2 street lights in my hometown, we shot one out, the other shining down." There's only 2 street lights. And where I came from, I'm like, there's only 2 street lights here. This is amazing. It's exactly where I want to live. So there's the prelude to Still America.
You're right here at Galaxy, joined by Michael Rose from Bad Horse. Here's Still America.
Are you back, babe? Oh, right on. Hey, honey, can you come here? That's our last one, isn't it, Grant?
One more. Nothing new.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's right. Okay. No, I'm good. I just wondering. But yeah, when I put Still America, people like looking at me like, oh, you know, and I have We the People on my forearm. And we went up and we headlined Hyde Park Street Fair, which is in the north end of Boise, and it's as liberal as you get. And we went up and we were playing. Everybody's digging it. And I noticed all the camera people were over here taking a picture of my forearm. So right before we did Still America, I said, I just want to let you know what this means. That's all of us. I don't subscribe to this division stuff. And then I said what I told you, we got crazy people on both sides, but in the middle here, we're the ones that have to steer the ship together. So this is all of us. And all of a sudden you see the photographers kind of disappear, because I could see him like, oh yeah, look at this guy. You know, he's going to be the new poster boy. They're going to try to burn me down a little bit up there. But when I said, everybody love everybody, you know, they're like, yeah, right on. They stood up and cheered, you know. And that's when I knew, too, that was kind of the litmus test. And I knew the country was ready for that.
Yeah.
They were ready to kind of come back to the reasonable middle and then work it out from there. And then the crazies out there, you can either straighten up or, you know, do something else.
Fair enough, too. Fair enough. Absolutely loving it.
Let me grab this real quick. Hold on just a second. I think it's my daughter. Hello? Hello?
Today we're talking to Michael F. Rose from the band Bad Horse, and believe me,
Hello?
absolutely loving this. I really, really am. We have one more to go with Nothing New, and you know what I'm going to ask? Anything new coming out? We'd love them to come back. Check it out. How many countries are tuned in right now?
What song are we doing right now, Grant?
We're doing Still America right now.
Oh, it's Still America's playing that I'm not going to do if you want to wait longer, with you. Or do you just want to buzz over there? Oh, okay. All right, well, give me...
Michael, do you need to cut this shorter? If you need
No,
to...
we're good. She was going to run off, but she just realized she's off tomorrow, so we'll fool around and do that tomorrow. We're okay.
Okay, all right.
That's what you can actually do, baby. Why don't you give me a glass of that box, and then you can have the other. Sorry about that, Grant. I'm having an absolute blast with you, man. This is so cool. I'm so grateful to you guys. I'm glad we're forming this relationship. I knew it was going to be good when we finally got together. And I need to get to New Zealand. I want to come out there in this next year, come out there and play.
Well, we would love to have you. 168, was it? There's 168 countries tuned in around the world right now.
That's wonderful. Hello, everybody.
How many
I hope they
cities?
can hear me, and I know a bunch of them are on Facebook.
7214.
7,214 cities around the world are tuned in.
That's radical. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I'll give you the number you really want. How many devices are tuned in at the end of this? Believe me, no use now because it's still going up.
Right on. Hey, honey. Well, give me just a second, man.
That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM, and today we're talking to Michael Rose from the band Bad Horse. Absolutely loving everything that's coming out right now. Really am. And believe me, we're going to have a lifelong relationship, Michael and Galaxy. We really are. Now, having said that, my friend, I really got to ask you, anything new coming out in the near future?
Oh man, we have so much new stuff. We've got can't think of it all. God Only Knows, Pleading the Fifth, Silly Love Song, not Paul's. Same Old Boys, Same Old Town. Just a bunch of wonderful music. And we were rehearsing Tuesday night, and what's so beautiful about when we're in this rehearsal room we play these songs, and when they finally come together, and with this talented group of guys I'm surrounded with, it doesn't take long. And then we just kind of finish it. We just kind of stop and laugh and just look at each other like, wow. It's just so wonderful. The chemistry. You know, you can play the song with anybody, but it's the chemistry that is really the difference with Bad Horse. I believe that wholeheartedly.
You know,
it's the love.
Yeah, I get it. I do, and I can hear it. As an engineer, believe me, I have this thing called an engineer's curse, where I try and break down the other engineers' work, try and figure out how they went, where they went, and why they went, if you know what I mean. It really is a curse. And believe me, I love everything that I'm hearing out of your camp. I really am. And at the same time, I think really we should give a shout out to your studio as well and your producer. Who did your work for you?
It depends on the song. Still America and Nothing New Under the Sun was our friend Steve Fulton at Audio Lab Studio in Boise. Some of the other tracks, we did some pre-production work at Starman Studios with our brother John Knox. A lot of the mix and mastering I did right here, and actually, quite frankly, some of the vocals I did right here. It depends on the song. But one thing, I want to give my shout out to the band and compliment them. And you've been in business a long time, so you tell me if you've ever heard of this before. Bob Umphris, my dear friend and bassist, my dear friend and drummer Flip Perkins, and Russ just joined this project that he already feels like my brother. Mark Hume. Mark's been with us 2.5 years, and 3.5 years collectively. And in this room, with the experience, we have almost 200 years worth of experience in this room between the five of us, and if not. And in 3.5 years, there has never been one argument in that room.
Absolutely brilliant. Believe me, I've been in recording studios where there has been the most passionate discussions, let's put it like that. I really have. And with some of the biggest names in the world. Believe me. And I've travelled around with some of the biggest names of bands in the world as well. You know, somebody said to me once, literally, Grant, you're on here all the time, you're a fantastic entertainer, you're a fantastic DJ, da-da-da-da-da. It must be fun being you. And I went, This is the public image. This is what you see. Believe me, after hours, when I'm finished all of this, I go in and work in production for hours and hours and hours, if you know what I mean. That's a whole different kind of Grant. It really is, if you know what I mean. So, yeah. And a lot of the artists that I've worked with over the years, you know, when they let their guard down and become themselves, believe me, they're a whole different deal altogether, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, I think sometimes people think they need to take on a persona to play music, and that persona isn't really who you are, and you think you have to be somebody you're not. And there's a little pretending when you first start, because you're emulating and you're trying to stand there and pretend you're not afraid right off the bat. That's pretending. I mean, there's a lot to it, but just if you love it, keep doing it. It's
So are you telling me that you get butterflies when you go on stage?
Me?
Yeah.
I remember when I first started playing in a coffee house years ago, and it was an open mic, and I would literally have to go in the bathroom. I was so nervous I'd have to go take a leak. I'd probably go to the bathroom about 6 times before they called me up.
Ah, dear. Believe me, I fully understand that.
They probably thought I was in there doing drugs or something. I was in there just nervous.
Well, I got to be honest with you, as an engineer, I always used to like recording in bathrooms. I really did.
I'll tell you what, it has about the best reverb.
Exactly. The acoustics in a lot of bathrooms, especially if they're tile, oh, believe me, we used to have some fun finding the best bathrooms in New Zealand to go and record songs in it. And I'm not kidding. Bands such as, I don't know whether you've heard of them, Split Ends, for instance. I did a lot of work with a band called Split Ends way back in the 80s, and we used to tiki tour around New Zealand, if you want to call it a tiki tour, finding
Nice.
men's toilets that had the right acoustics to it. And believe me, we actually found one underneath a motorway that was perfect, and we released an album out of that whole place. It really was. It was fantastic. It was. Got to ask you, anything new? Yes, we got some new stuff coming out of the can, but we've got a brand spanking new song called Nothing New that we really should be talking about. Really, we should talk about it. Nothing New. What's Nothing New? Tell me about Nothing New.
Nothing new. Well, it's another biblical reference, but it came from an experience that I had where I was in a relationship where no matter what I tried, it was never enough, and I just started getting that in my head. You know, it's no matter what I do, no matter how nice this might feel right now, there's nothing new under the sun, man. We're gonna go round again. There's no doubt. And after the day when I watched her drive away, I was sitting there in my shop with the door open, and I was picking my guitar, and I was drinking a beer, and I wrote, "Pick my guitar and drink another beer. Ain't nothing new going on round here. Damn near been a year." And that year was the COVID time. And this downtime's making me lazy. I'm just sitting around drinking beer, getting fat. You know, I was like, man, this sucks. What's worse? Why is somebody going to come along and hit me in the head with a hammer? I mean, what's next? That's how I felt. But what I was blessed enough to be able to do, I just dove into the music head first, and it's my medicine, and and I got to have it.
That apocalyptic zombie period of time, weird period, I got to be honest with you, but when you were in, I presume you guys were in pretty much the same boat we were all in lockdown everywhere, you know, we weren't allowed to do anything or anything. Did you ever get out and drive around a city that had nobody in it?
You broke up right there. What that had nobody in it?
Through that pandemic area, did you ever go out, drive around in a city where there was absolutely nobody? Did you ever experience?
Yeah, I had a different take on the whole thing. I was healthy. I was taking D3. I had to work. I didn't have a choice. So I would go out, and at the time, I had a flooring business where I would do epoxy garage floors. And I didn't have to see the people. They would just text me, or they'd wave out the window. I would do the job, and they'd open their garage door and go right on, and they'd Venmo me, and I didn't see them. But I wasn't a mask guy. I was like, you know what? Lay it on me. You know, if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. And I had it, but, you know, and I got sick, and it felt like the flu, and then I got up and got back after it. It took a little while. It sucked. Don't get me wrong. It's a real thing, but, you know, 99.7% recovery rate. I just was looking at the stats, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know about this. So anyway, to answer your question, you could fly anywhere super cheap at the time. So I just started flying everywhere. There's like 2 people on the plane. So I would, you know, have my mask. I had to wear my mask when I went into the airport, or they wouldn't let me in. So I'd get on the plane, and then the stewardess would come by, and she, with her mask on, "Would you like anything to drink?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll have a whiskey." Okay. So she'd bring me the whiskey, and then I'd look at her like, I have to, right? And she goes, "Oh yes, you can have your mask down as long as you're drinking." So I would make a whiskey last 2.5 hours and just have my mask down, just, you know, and that's when I knew the whole world had gone crazy. It was like, okay, so wait a minute. And so at that point, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I was pretty much over it at that point. So yeah, I flew for cheap. I could walk into anywhere and just go wherever I wanted to go. There wasn't anybody in the way. I mean, there's not a ton of people up here anyway, but yeah, it was like a ghost town, man. I was just walking around in it.
But I've got to be honest with you. we're in between three major cities. We have Rotorua, Tauranga and Whakatane. And when this was going on, literally I got in the car, went to Rotorua for instance, which is a fairly reasonable city, and absolutely nobody, you know, you might see the occasional paper bag floating down the street or something like that. It felt literally like the last person in the world. Fantastic feeling, it really was. You're looking around at all these skyscrapers going, hello, I'm standing in the middle of the biggest main street, literally, and I'm not being run over. This is great, it really was. Absolutely loved it, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't have a big, well, I had a problem with the nonsense of it, but I certainly didn't have a problem with, you know, being the only guy around.
Well,
I was cool with it.
Did you have these people with these perspex glass kind of, you know, windows in front of you when you're purchasing an item or something, and the first thing they do is they poke their head around the side and say hello? I mean, what the hell was the use of them?
I know.
Why did they have it?
They did. I don't know if it was mass hypnosis or whatever it was. I know it was mass terror. You know, it was almost like H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds in, what was that, 1938, you know, that's a radio broadcast, or like the Martians have landed. People who didn't hear the header of the show were jumping off of bridges.
Exactly.
And be very careful. I'll say this too, I hope I don't get in trouble, but it's true. You're going to see that again. These drones and all this stuff, this is all being broadcast to scare you, so you run to the government, so you have to rely on them some more. And our governments haven't really been very forthcoming, especially here. So I don't want to see your broadcasted, you know, UFO, close encounters of the third kind. I mean, the fallen angels, that's a whole other thing I won't go into, because some of those dudes are buzzing around too, and it's a weird time right now. But don't buy it when they go, the aliens are attacking. Just go to the store. You know, it's going to work out.
Well,
and plus that group of folks are kind of they're on their way in 4 days to go. They're going to go do some other stuff. Right
well,
now.
let's not forget about 6 years ago, your prime minister, well, your president coming up elect. I think he's coming up this weekend. I think he's going to be elected in or something. 6 years ago, he started up a thing called the Space Force. Are we getting ready for an invasion from your president?
You know what? Well, like I said, since you're going to talk about Space Force, I'll talk about Project Bluebeam. It's a satellite system where they use lasers to do all kinds of things. Some of them hit the ground. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but it's a real thing. You can research it. But that's, you know, I know a lot of this stuff, but my job isn't to, you know, I'll let you know what's going on. I'll send you, you go down the rabbit hole. I've already been there. I know what's happening for the most part.
Sure.
But my job as an artist is to create an environment of love so that regardless of what we're going through, and the world's nuts right now.
Right, for sure, absolutely. As I said to you earlier, I'm one of these guys that likes to think out of the box. And
yeah, for sure.
I was saying to an artist a couple of days ago, imagine if your knees bent in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah. And I says, could you imagine how interesting chairs would be?
What would be?
Chairs.
Oh, yeah. I guess you just have like the even bars in gymnastics, and they just have to walk up and kind of hang on them. I don't know how would you
exactly,
or you just fold down like an old chair.
Exactly. I actually had that one given to me by the lead guitarist of the band Autograph.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, Steve Lynch, he's a friend of ours. You know, he says to me, Grant, check this one out. And he says, and for years now, I've actually thought chairs would be damned interesting for sure, it really would.
Right. How were the other interviews today? Did you guys have a blast? Didn't you have 3 other artists on?
Yeah, we had this band of all bands on earlier on, of course, Mad Symphony. We've known those guys for about 5 years. They've been family members. Love those guys, we really do. great interview every time. They really, really are.
That's awesome.
Gosh, it's so hot in here.
Did you have a temperature gauge in there? What is
Yeah,
it looks like you're acting like it's 100 in there right now.
It's 29.
It's 29 degrees, 74 degrees here.
Outside.
Yeah, outside.
Oh, yeah.
Add another
It's
20.
129 and
Pretty much, it feels. It's a weight loss program, okay?
We lost some
Right.
connection. But I
they,
needed this
they seem to think if you sweat it off, you'll be good. Have we got the Kiwi air conditioning employed?
Aye.
We have. Somebody's opened the windows. Well done. We're really up with the play here.
Yes, sir. You guys have that much fun every day in there?
Oh,
No
yeah,
wonder
of
the
course.
station,
Yes, we do.
It just it emotes love and fun. You guys are great. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, sorry.
You're doing a great job. I'm
hey.
not watching the Facebook because I'm staying
No,
focused
the
here.
Facebook's finished because my phone got too hot. But I'm filming this at the end. You'll see this at the end when we talk.
Sure. Don't worry, Michael. Hang in there
I'll put it
because after
together.
this we'll take some photos,
Okay.
bits and pieces.
No, I got plenty of time for you guys.
Barbara's-
Having a blast.
Barbara will put it all together in a movie, and
I'll add this
you'll
bit too.
get this in the morning. Anyway,
It's the
we'll
trouble
just wrap this up, but
sometimes.
please don't go anywhere, and
you so
we'll have a
much for
chat
joining
after this
us.
because I've got something interesting I want to talk to you about.
I know.
That's right, you're right here at Galaxy107fm, and today we're joined by Michael F. Rose from the band Bad Horse. Now, Michael, we are going to have to wrap it up here right now, but I got to thank you so much for joining us. Been an absolute pleasure. Now, at the same time, just wondering, will you come back for another interview in the near future?
Absolutely. Why don't we get together after we get this album done? And right before we release it, Real Love is the first release from, and you're going to love this name. I hope you do. It's Bad Horse. The album name is Road Apple Pie. And I won't go into why because I know we've gone a little long and we're probably going to talk for a while after this. I'll explain to you why off the air.
Okay.
It has something to do with the condition of the country when I named it. But things are turning around, and everything is cyclical, you know, and that's just how it is. But I want to tell you guys, thank you so much for having me. It really is a blessing, and I'll certainly be back. I haven't cut interviews short before, but this is one that, believe me, I'm not watching the clock.
Absolutely fantastic, my friend. I've got to be honest with you, neither am I. I've let it go over time. Believe me, I've got staff there going, hurry up, we're supposed to be working, all that sort of stuff. Ignored the lot because, believe me, Michael, I find you very, very interesting. Would love to have you come back again. I think we're going to have a great relationship, you and I.
I do too, brother. I appreciate it so much. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody listening. Hey, and our fans and our friends and our music family, we love you so much. Thank you. And I love you guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure, my friend. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take some photos and we'll have a little chat at the same time. So for everybody else, thank you for joining us this week on All the Gas. We've had it from Monday through. Absolutely loved each and every interview. And join us next week for more gas. Believe me, it gets better and better and better as we go. Really, really does. From me, happy radio, everyone. Have a very happy and successful weekend. And from Michael, he says, catch you later.
And to our friends in North Carolina or wherever you are, I'm going to make sure that merch site's up for you guys in the next half an hour, and I'm sending you guys your t-shirts.
Very cool. I'll get Barbara to give you the details there. In the meantime, have a great weekend. Be safe. See you on Monday morning.
Love you all.